Alright, I got doing today, about to hop into a little reaction. The first things first, I would love to make sure you like the video, hit a little exit full screen, scroll just a little bit, like the video, then full screen it back up. You feel me? So today's video is coming from Testify, titled Four Clues the Gospel Are an Eyewitness Account. So, like I said in the last reaction, I think that we did, focusing a lot on how we can trust the Gospels. Not that I don't trust the Gospels, just kind of like in a, I don't know. It's something new to study on a topic of still biblical accuracy. A little bit of church history. Not that I support fully church history or whatever, but it's cool to see how we trust the things that we trust and we know that these things are reliable, right? It's just cool to see that. So let's check it out.
Muslims and skeptics love to claim that the Gospels weren't written by eyewitnesses, but by anonymous authors far removed from the events. If that's true, though, it's shocking how often the Gospels nail historical facts, right down to tiny details that are hard to fake. And when you compare them to apocryphal Gospels like the Gospel of Peter or the Gospel of Barnabas, the difference is night and day. In this video, I'm going to look at 4 examples that dismantle this myth, and trust me, it's just the tip of the iceberg. For starters, Luke's Gospel tells a story where some Pharisees warn Jesus that Herod Antipas wants to kill him. Jesus shrugs it off, calling Herod a fox and saying that he's heading to Jerusalem anyway. Seems pretty straightforward, right? But dig into the geography and history, and it's clear this isn't something someone just made up. The story appears in a section of Luke's Gospel that's hard to pin down chronologically. Scholars call it achronological narration. Luke chunks things together without worrying about the exact order. But here's the thing, if Jesus isn't in Galilee anymore, why would Herod Antipas, who rules in Galilee, be a threat? Luke tells us multiple times that Herod Antipas ruled Galilee, but here's what Luke doesn't mention. According to the Jewish historian Josephus, Herod also ruled Perea, a strip of land east of the Jordan River. And guess where Jesus was the months before his death? Yep, Perea. The other Gospels back this up. Matthew 19:1 and Mark 10:1 say that Jesus went beyond the Jordan. And John 10:40 through 41 says that he hung out where John the Baptist used to baptize. Even though Luke doesn't spell this out, the story lines up perfectly. The Pharisees' warning makes total sense if Jesus was in Perea, where Herod's authority still applied. This detail isn't flashy or forced, Luke just mentions it casually. Getting Herod's jurisdiction right without knowing the specifics isn't easy. It's too precise to be luck, and too casual to be staged.
See, and this right here, this is just beautiful, little details like this. And I was even seeing something the other day, not that I think this is true, not that I don't think it's true, but I was watching this video talking about how would Jesus been able to flee to Egypt with Mary and Joseph when he was a baby, and they wouldn't have any suspicion aroused unless they were black, because Egyptians were black back in the day. Like, I don't know how black, but they were black or something. And the Jews were black, so they went to Egypt, which meant they had to be in to fit in, and it was black. And they said something about crossing the sea, and some video said something along the lines that Moses didn't split the Red Sea, but the Nile River, because something along the lines of I'd have to find a video, and that'd be its own task in and of itself. I don't remember what platform it was on. I don't remember what it was. I just remember they were like, he crossed the Nile and went further into Africa, and I was like, I don't know about that one, big dog. I don't know about that one. Maybe. Right, I ain't gonna rule it out because I don't know, but maybe. But right, see, this is how you start to know the things that you know. We can see this, see that Herod's jurisdiction was in Perea because of Josephus writing about it, and then Jesus being there as corroborated by Matthew and Mark, and then Luke as well talking about Herod's trying to pursue him. So it's just beautiful to see all the things come together, just a little bit,
It feels rooted in real events. Now, compare this to the Gospel of Barnabas, a late medieval knockoff trying way too hard to sound legit. It claims Herod Antipas ruled Jerusalem and Judea, but the real Herod Antipas governed Galilee, not Judea. This is what fake history looks like, throwing names around without a clue about the actual history. Here's another one from Luke. He's the only gospel who gives us the story of Jesus raising a widow's son in Nain. Nain is a tiny Galilean town about 10 miles south of Nazareth. Jesus and his crew walk towards the city gate and encounter a funeral procession. The dead man's mom, a widow, is absolutely devastated. Jesus tells her, "Don't cry," then raises her son. Neat story and all, but here's where it gets interesting. The Babylonian Talmud mentions differing funeral customs in Galilee and in Judea. In Judea, mourners walk behind the bier. but in Galilee, they walk in front of it. Knowing that, the story makes perfect sense. Jesus meets the mother first because she's leading the procession out of the gate, then goes to the bier. Who would include such a random cultural detail unless they actually knew it? This screams eyewitness testimony. Now, compare this again to the Gospel of Barnabas, which hilariously places Nain on the shore of the Sea of Galilee, a huge geographical blunder. Let's take a look at a couple of cool examples in John's Gospel. In John 19, the soldiers divide up Jesus' clothes at the crucifixion. As it turns out, Roman law, as noted in Justinian's Digest, lets executioners keep the belongings of the condemned. But there's more here. John implies that there were 4 soldiers without explicitly stating it. He mentions they divided the clothes into 4 shares, one for each soldier. This lines up with Roman military practices, where a standard guard, called a quaternion, was made up of 4 men, and we know this from reading Polybius. John's accuracy is effortless and consistent, the kind of detail you get from somebody who was there.
I like how they got John rocking a huge bust down. Is that a Jesus piece on John, bro? That's actually crazy. I love these little animation dudes that they be having, like the same face over and over. I don't know the name of the meme, but they be mad funny, and that's why I love videos like this. It just looks so smooth and easy to digest because it's not talking about anything in a huge jargon-filled way, you know?
Not someone making things up centuries later. Now, contrast this with the so-called Gospel of Peter, which claims Jewish priests were at Jesus' tomb waiting. Levitical law forbids priests from being near the dead. That's the kind of sloppy mistake you would expect from a late forgery. Let's take a look at one more example. At the end of the Feast of Tabernacles, Jesus makes a bold move. He stands up on the last day, the climax of the festival, and shouts, "If anyone is thirsty, let him come to me and drink. He who believes in me, as the scripture has said, out of his heart shall flow rivers of living water." Now, why does the timing matter? Back then, the Feast of Tabernacles featured a daily water pouring ceremony from the Pool of Siloam, symbolizing God's provision and spirit. The Talmud even says, one who did not see the celebration of the place of the drawing of water never saw a celebration in his days. By the time John's Gospel is written, likely after the temple's destruction in 70 AD, those rituals were history. Jesus' dramatic call to those who are thirsty to come to him and drink and receive a spiritual river of living water makes sense only in the light of the customs of his time. This again looks like testimony of somebody who was actually there, not writing long after the events, just making things up. Now, compare this again to the Gospel of Barnabas. Chapter 15 says the Feast of Tabernacles was near in Jesus' first year of ministry, but chapter 30 brings up the Cenophagi, the exact same festival as happening that year too. The words actually mean the same thing. It's a sloppy repeat that shows zero understanding of Jewish customs. The Gospels nail the details, culture, geography, you name it, screaming eyewitnesses were here. Forgeries like Barnabas or Peter, they flop hard. Stacking up the real Gospels against the fakes should strengthen your faith.
Actually, that was just a fantastic video overall. He brought the quotes, he brought quotes. He brought sources with like where in the sources they were, like the 6.83 point whatever for like the old people writing like Josephus and them, but the other ones that were talking about the Roman law, whatever. And then he didn't make any explicit mention of like, all right guys, that was like just straight to the point. Video started, video ended. It was low-key beautiful. I ain't hating on myself for having an intro and all that. Like, I think that somebody like this deserves to say something along the lines of like the video, you know, because some actual skill went into it. I ain't saying I ain't got no skill in this, but like I'm just reacting to it. It ain't really that skillful, you know what I'm saying? This was some effort, deserves that 200K subscribers, you know what I'm saying? And go shout out to Testify, man. Shout out to Testify. Go subscribe, go like the video, you know, all that stuff, all that beautiful things you can do to the channel. Go ahead and do it, because man, that was good. That was good. And I hope that brought you, just like he said at the end, I hope that brought you some extra faith for your beliefs and everything. But if you guys got any other cool little details like that, leave them in the comments, and I'll see you next time. All right, that's gonna be the end of the video. Hope you guys have yourself a fantastic rest of your day. Peace.